Oops. Can you all hear me clearly?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Nice to meet you. And thanks to everyone for joining in spite of a Friday evening.
Yes, sir. But all the participants very interested and eagerly learn all the data science tools, sir.
Okay. Very nice, sir. Yeah, let's get started. I'm already 2 minutes late. Sorry for the delay.
Sir, now participants is joining. Wait for 1-2 minutes, sir. After that,
Sure.
we can start.
Okay, sure.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Tejaswini ma'am?
Sir,
Yes.
Hello.
a very good evening to one and all present here. We are delighted to welcome you all to our 8th session of 2 weeks International Faculty Development Program on Data Science Tools organized by the Department of Artificial Intelligence and Data Science of SRM Ishwari Engineering College. Today's session is on Power BI. It is an honor for me to introduce and welcome the keynote speaker of the day to our session, Mr. Narayanan Natarajan, who is currently working as a senior data scientist at InfoShift Technologies. We are happy to have you with us today, sir. The session is yours.
Thanks for the introduction, Tejaswini. I'm very excited to talk to you all today because Power BI is a very interesting tool, very powerful, useful tool. And I hope today's session will be useful for all of you and will help you get started with Power BI and dashboards in general. Let me share my screen. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Sure. Okay. So today's agenda will be first we want to go through some introduction to Power BI and dashboards in general. Then we are going to analyze a data set that is about Indian movies and their IMDb ratings. We are going to analyze this through Power BI. And if time permits, I will also show you another very complex marketing analytics dashboard that I created during my master's program. And we'll reserve 5 to 10 minutes at the very end for Q&A.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So coming to Power BI and dashboarding in general, why do we need dashboards? What are dashboards used for? Whenever you build a software or a process, let's say you're building an app to deliver groceries, right? You want to track how the software performs as a developer, as a software engineer, and you also want to use metrics to improve the software, right? So you will create, you'll have some data about the software. You will use that data to create data visualizations, and then based on the visualizations, you will try to improve the software. Or if you're showing the software to end clients or customers, for example, you all use Zomato, you all use Swiggy, apps like these. They all show you a dashboard that shows you, for example, where your delivery person is, how long they'll take to deliver, all these data. They all show it to you in the form of visualizations, in the form of a dashboard. So dashboards are really powerful tools that are very important for a data analyst or data scientist or a business intelligence engineer. So if you want to become, or if you want to have a career in one of these paths, data visualization and dashboards are a must-have tool in your arsenal. With that, we'll get started with Power BI. So you can download Power BI through Microsoft's website. It is available for Windows desktop. You can download free, versions, and sometimes, if you, as a student, you'll get some offers or you'll get some free licenses, things like that. So you can check it out. It's very easy to download. You can download it for the desktop for Windows, and you can start using it. So let's move on to this one, analyzing Indian movies and IMDb ratings. We all like movies, right? That's why I chose this data set, so that it's interesting for us to understand the data and see, how movies are being rated in IMDb. I have a CSV file here. That is, this was the original data set. I apologize. I had a power cut at my home. Sorry for the interruption. We'll go back to our
Yes.
discussion. So I downloaded a dataset that has IMDb ratings for Indian movies, and I have cleaned up that dataset a little bit, removing incorrect entries, making some minor adjustments to the data so that we can start analyzing it with Power BI. Now I'm going to open Power BI and we will go through this dataset. So this is the home screen for Power BI. If you open Power BI, it will ask you to get data. So here we are going to load our IMDb movie ratings dataset. I'm going to select the edited dataset that I have, DN movies edited. And you see here, Power BI is showing a preview of our dataset. So you can see that it has an ID column, it has the movie name, Indian movie name, it has the year of the movie, the timing in minutes, the IMDb rating is here, then the number of votes for that movie, the genre, and then language. But before we start creating visualizations, we have to inspect the data to make sure everything looks correct. The data type is correct. Some minor adjustments we are going to do. I will walk you through those adjustments, and you can do all of that directly in Power BI. You don't need to use Excel. You don't need to use Python to do that cleanup. So we are going to do transform data, and Power BI has a powerful data editor. So you can see we have all the data here, and you can see that this is the column names, but it's not assigned properly, right? So here there is an option that says use first row as headers. So if we select this, the column names become correct. The next thing we are going to do is look at data types. I'm sure you would have come across data types like string, integer, decimal, date, etc. So if you look at this column, right, it says ABC, meaning it is a string, and that is correct because you have both, alphabets and the numerical digits. So it's okay to have string there. Movie name is also a string, so that is fine. Year shouldn't be a string. I'm just going to set it to a whole number for now. You can also set it to date, time, etc. For our analysis, whole number is fine. So I'm going to set it. And if you see for some rows, it says error because the data isn't right or there is some problem there, right? Power BI also gives you options to replace errors or replace values, or you can also remove errors. In my case, I'm just going to say, remove errors. I don't want to deal with errors. So I'm just going to remove errors. So this column now looks good. Next, if we go to the timing column. So timing is in minutes, right? It is already shown in the column name. So you don't need minutes in the column also, in the cells also. You can remove minutes from this column. So you can go here, replace values, you can type minutes and replace with null. So if you see, this column is also cleaned up now. Minutes have been removed. The one thing we need to filter out here is the empty dashes here, because that will mess with our visualizations. So I'm going to remove the dashes. You can see how easy it is to make these changes. Like you can go here, you can uncheck this dash and say, okay. So now our data is perfect here. And now we can change this to time in minutes. You can change this to fixed decimal or decimal number. Next column is the IMDb rating. Rating is out of 10. And you can see even here we have some data issues, like some dashes are there, right? So just like the previous column, we are going to uncheck the dashes, click OK, and then change the data type. So this is also set. What about other columns? So votes should be numerical. It is set as string. So we're going to change that. So this part of the process, the data cleaning process, is very, very important. It might be boring to some of you, but this is very important to do data visualization, because if this column is in string, you cannot, make any visualization on top of it. So we need to clean up the data here. I think we are almost done. So if you look at these two columns, they're already string. So the data cleaning is complete. I'm going to say close and apply. This will apply all our changes to our data set. So it says 13,000 rows have been loaded, right? So we have the data set here. So Power BI shows you different visualizations you can build here, the different types of charts. And then on this panel, you can see your data set. So you can add multiple data sets also. In this case, we are adding just one data set. So if you look at this data set, you have all your columns here, right? So before we build any visualization, I'm quickly going to add a title to our dashboard. So I'm going to go to Insert, Text Box, and then I'm going to say Analysis of Indian Movies IMDb Ratings. Okay, so we have a title now. Next, we are going to look at what type of data visualizations we can do here. So the first thing we can do here is, let's first see how many movies are in this data set. So for that, I'm going to, you can select the column you want to visualize like this, and then drag it to the dashboard. So if you see, all the movie names are displayed here as a table. We can create a visualization here. In this case, I'm going to select something called a card. So if I select a card here, it is going to show the first movie name in that list. But what I want to see here is, I want to look at the total number of movies in our data set, right? So you can go to fields and you can select count of distinct. So you can see that there are 13,000 movies here approximately, right? those are the unique movies in our data set. I'm going to make some minor visual changes here. So you can go to, so the first panel here is to add data and make changes, like what you want to add to your visualization. The second one is to make aesthetic changes to your visualization. So you can see, you can adjust the font, you can adjust the text size, all that thing. For now, I'm just going to add a title. I'm going to call it total number of movies. Right, and another minor thing I'm going to do here is change the color of the font here. So these are very creative things that they are very subjective. Somebody likes blue, somebody likes red. You can see what fits your taste. Sometimes when we create dashboards, we also look at what the customer or the client would like. For example, if my company's logo is in, let's say, black and orange color, I will try to use those colors in the dashboard so that it matches well with our branding. In this case, I'm going to select colors. Let me see where color is. Yeah, so I'm going to create a slightly grayish background. So this looks good to me now. So we have our first data visualization. The next thing we want to know is what are the total number of votes in our data set, like how many total vote ratings have been given in our data set. So I'm going to create a similar visualization. So you can do, copy and paste. You can copy it, copy visual. I'm going to do Control V to paste it here, right? It's very simple. In this case, instead of movies, I'm going to replace the movie name here with votes. So this is the sum of votes. If we change the title, I have to drop out for just a few seconds. Please bear with me. So we have our second visualization here. I'm going to go a little bit fast because of our timeline. If you have any questions, please note it down. We can discuss it during the last 10 minutes. So my last card here is going to be the average rating. We want to know on an average, what is the IMDb rating any person has given for a Indian movie. So instead of votes, I'm going to replace it with rating. And here it says sum of rating. You can change that to average. And let's change the title as well. Right? So based on this, we know what are the total number of movies in our data set, how many total ratings have been given, total number of votes, and then what was the average rating. So generally for a good movie, the rating will be somewhere around 7.58 or above that, or above 7 generally. So this is the average rating we see in our data set. The next thing I want to do here is look at a distribution of all the ratings that have been given. We want to know, how many people have voted 3, how many people have given 4, how many people have given, 8 or 10, etc. We want to look at the overall spread of that data. So I'm going to pull rating here. And there is a chart called area chart. I'm going to select it. And I'm going to, so for any chart, there are 2 axes, the x-axis and y-axis. I'm going to put rating on the x-axis, and I'm going to put on the y-axis ID. So now, that's a very nice chart. So you can see, so on the y-axis, you see count of ID. ID is nothing but the number of votes. So for example, how to read this graph is, you can see a very high value here. It means most people have generally given a rating of, between 6 and 8. So you can, look at the average, median, all the descriptive statistics, but for you to understand better, you can read it this way. Like based on this graph, most people's ratings is within 6 to 8. And that corresponds well with our average rating value here, right? So I'm going to make some minor aesthetic changes for this graph. Now that we have created this graph, we can go and change those things in your format your visual option. I'm going to call this distribution of ratings. And on the x-axis and y-axis, I'm going to change some names. This is rating. And for y-axis, the title is, I'm going to call it count. So this chart will help us read the distribution of ratings. And as you can see, very few people have voted above 8 or 9, because it's very rare for a movie to get a 9 or 10 rating in IMDb. So if you're a movie buff, you might know this. There are very few good movies that are, rated above 9 or 10. So that looks right with our data here. The next chart I'm going to build here is, I'm going to look at how many movies are there for every language, because we are looking at Indian movies here. India is, a multicultural country, and we speak so many languages. So we have a lot of languages in this data set, and we are going to look at how many movies are there for every language. So I'm going to pull language here. It is going to show me this table. For this, I'm going to create a pie chart. So you can select pie chart on this graph, and you can, so on pie chart, there is a concept called legend. Legend is the different types of languages that you want to see. And on values, you can add language here and create a count. So if you see, there is like almost 30% of the movies are Hindi. And next to that, we have Tamil. Tamil is almost 15%. Then you have Malayalam. So you see how easy it is to create a graph here. I just pulled this language column, I selected a graph, and I added what data I want to see on the graph. So this shows that the top 3, movies in IMDb, or top 3 languages are Hindi, Tamil, and Malayalam. I'm going to make some minor aesthetic changes here. Just change the title. I'm going to call this movies by language. Right. So this is also looking good. Now, the next thing we want to see is what are the best Indian movies according to IMDb ratings. For this, we are going to create like a top 10 chart that shows the top 10 IMDb movie ratings, top 10 movies based on IMDb ratings. So for this, I'm going to pull rating here and then movie name. So those are the two things we want to see. And then in Power BI, there is a very cool chart called a tree map. Tree map, if you select this, your data transforms something like this. You can see a lot of tiles here because there are so many languages here, so many movies here, but we want to see only the top 10 movies, right? So you can filter the graph based on the filters column here. So as you can see, for the graph, I've selected movie name as the category. And then for value, I'm adding rating. For the filters, we are going to filter by rating. So you can select top N and you can say, show me only the top 10 items. So I'm going to add rating here in the value column and then select top 10. Yes. So now you can see that this graph is being filtered. It shows the top 10 movies. You can see all these movies have a rating of 10. Can anyone identify any movie from this list? You can, if you identify something, you can type it on the chat. Has anyone seen any of these movies? You may not have seen because when you usually add top 10 movies here, it is going to show that movie here, even if one person has given a rating of 10. Let's say I am making a movie. I can give that movie, a rating of 10, and then it will show up here, even if nobody else has given that rating, right? So we need to add a filter for number of ratings. We should say, okay, only if 1,000 people or 10,000 people have given ratings for the movie, then it can make the top 10 list, right? So for that, I'm going to add one more filter here based on the number of votes. So you can say basic filtering. You can do advanced filtering and then say number of votes is greater than 10,000. Now you see a lot of interesting movies. First movie is Perambu, Tamil movie. Then you have Unbasivam, such a classic movie. You have Drishyam 2. I think this is a Drishyam 2 should be, I don't know, maybe Hindi or Tamil, I'm not sure. Surare Putru is there, Arvi is there, Talapati, Ratchasan, a lot of Tamil movies have come up in the list, right? Happy to see Tamil movies here. So you can see how important it is to add filters to bring out the best insights from your data. So this is the top 10 movies list. I'm going to change the title here and call it top 10 movies. So if you scroll over it, you can see the movie and the rating for the movie. Now that we have seen top 10 movies, let's also look at which movies were very bad. Which movies are the bottom 10 according to IMDb ratings. So for this, I'm just going to copy this visual, paste it here. Yes. The only change we need to make here is we already discussed this top 10 filter that we added, right? I'm going to go here, change this to bottom 10 and do apply. Yes. So now you can see a lot of interesting movies, a lot of movies that are flops, or they did not receive a very good rating. You can see on average the ratings are like 2, 3, etc. Right? So I'm going to go and change the title here and call it bottom 10 movies. So if you look at our overall dashboard, it looks nice now. It is showing us all the important statistics from our data. You have some numbers that show up here as overall dataset level data. And then you have top 10 and bottom 10 movies. And then you have the distribution of ratings. And then you have the movies by language. There is one more interesting feature that I want to show you. In Power BI, you can create filters for the entire page. Now, let's say I want to look at the top 10 movies in Tamil or bottom 10 movies in Tamil, right? Or let's say I want to look at the average rating for a Tamil movie. How do we do that? You can go to any graph. For example, in this graph, we have a lot of options in the Tamil, Malayalam, etc. If you select on a movie, the other graphs will change. Before that, there is a minor step. So let's say I want to make this graph change. I need to select an option called edit interactions, and then we have to select an option called filter. These are more, slightly more advanced concepts, but I want to show you how this works. Okay. Now that that is done, let's go and select Tamil from this graph. Yes. So you can see all the data points have changed. Now you can see in Tamil, there are only 1,900 movies. The total number of votes is around 2 million and average rating is 6.1. If you look at the top 10 list, you can expand it by clicking on this focus mode. So you can see the top 10 movies in Tamil. Peranbu, Ambesagam, Surare Potra, and then, on this side, you have Vikram Veda. Very interesting movies, movies that I have personally enjoyed. And then if you look at bottom 10 movies, that is also a very interesting list. So you see, some of Vijay and Ajit's flops here. Master, Billa, and then you have other movies here that did not do so well. So similarly, if you click on Hindi, you can only see Hindi movies in this list. Or if you want to look at Malayalam or Telugu, you can simply select it, and the whole dashboard will change. So like this, you can add so many filters in Power BI, and this is a very powerful tool for presenting insights. So based on our agenda, we are almost done with this topic. I want to spend some 10 minutes here to talk about a more complex dashboard, just to create awareness, to show you what can be done through Power BI. I'm going to send all these links in the chat. So that is the
Narayan, sir, any issue?
yes, sorry, sir. I had a power cut again. Can you all hear me now?
Yes, sir. And you can switch off your video and it's better.
Yeah, I think my internet is back.
Okay.
Okay, sure. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
Okay, sure. So,
Audible.
okay, let me share my screen again. I want to share all these links with you. So I have the Power BI download link, and then I'm going to share a Google Drive link for the dataset and the dashboard I just showed you. And then I'm going to also share this example dashboard that I created during my master's. You can go over it. And then I'm going to link some resources for you to learn Power BI. So let's look at this example marketing analytics dashboard. So I got this data set from, I think, Kaggle. You can download the same data set through Kaggle. And I have also shared that data set here in the Google Drive link that I shared. You can see both the CSV and Power BI file here. So let's briefly look at this dashboard. So I created this dashboard for a market analysis. Um, we were doing a project for a clothes company that was selling clothes for different people. They were selling for babies, for kids, for normal people, like normal people meaning adults, and then wholesale buyers for new moms, etc. So they were selling clothes for different people, and we wanted to create a Power BI dashboard to analyze the data and present recommendations for them. So you can see there are 5 different categories of people. The millennial mothers is new mothers who are very young. Like millennials are people who are generally born after 1990s or 2000s. So you have new moms here, moms, women who have recently given birth to a child, and then you have fashionistas, meaning people who really like the modern trends, etc. So like that, we have 5 categories here, and for each category, I have created separate dashboards to look at their performance. For example, this icon here is to look at their demographics, to look at what kind of people are there, which countries are they from, what are their age, their demographic statistics. And then we have 2 other dashboards here to do more market analysis. So in Power BI, you can create multiple pages to your dashboard. If you see, I have multiple pages to my dashboard, and you can link them to icons here. Like I have created this picture here, and you can link that page to this icon. So this is basically like our home page for the dashboard. First page is home page, and then you have sales analysis and demographics here. Now let's say we can click on demographics for this one. So what this is going to show us is, if you look at their demographics, it shows us, so this is data for USA. So you can see from which states in US those customers are from. And you can see here like which counties they are from. Counties are a hierarchy of geographical locations in US. So you can see counties are similar like towns in India. So you can see which counties are having the most customers for that particular category, and then you can see number of customers, their age, income, gender, so many other things. And just like I showed in the previous graph, you can click on any particular graph, and that will change all the other graphs. For example, let's say I only want to look at female gender, what their demographics are, right? I can click female on this chart, and everything else will change. So you can see, like what their education was, what the number of customers was, etc. All right. And if I go back to home page, I can, there are so many other categories here, and I can take a look at sales or analysis for any of these categories. Like I can select sales here, and it will show us the top 5 and bottom 5 products by revenue. So let's say we want to look at what are our top 5 best products, right? You can see the best product according to revenue figures. So this is, like a very sales dashboard. And for example, if you want to look at your sales across years, right, from 2005 to 2011, how your sales have changed. you can create this graph. It's a scatter plot, and here I have also added like a play option. What it does is if you select play, it will show you how your sales have changed in different years. So these are all creative visualizations you can add to your chart and make it look very appealing. And the last one is some analysis. So in this case, we did some analysis and presented which like how to market your products, how to target audience, which products to sell together. For example, if you go to a grocery shop or like a supermarket, they will have toothpaste and toothbrush close together because people always buy them together, right? Similarly, somebody who buys a t-shirt will want to buy a jean, something like that. That's called a market basket analysis to combine products. So we have done some analysis and presented everything through Power BI. So I showed this dashboard to show you like how complex you can create visualizations. If you see, there is a home page, there are multiple pages for each category and so on. I also linked this in the chat. So, in your free time, you can go through it, and you can contact me on LinkedIn if there are any questions. So I think we are almost done. We have like 5 minutes to go. We can have a QA session now if anybody has any questions. How do I know which visualization is applied on a dashboard? So if you go to your dashboard and let's say I select this visualization, if you open the visualization tab, it will highlight the visualization that you have. It highlights tree map. Let's say I select pie chart, right? It will highlight the pie chart option. Or if you want to know which chart to select for which insight, right? So generally, to show percentages, you can select a pie chart. For top 10 and bottom 10, you can select this tree map, or you can select a bar chart as well. If you select bar chart, right, it will show you the top 10, bottom 10 movies by bar chart. And some of this also comes with practice and experience. If you start building graphs, you will see, what you like, what other people will like and appreciate, things like that. So, and for distribution, you can select usually I like, a bell plot to show, the curve and, distributions. So this is similar to like a bell chart. So I hope that answers your question. Challenges in Power BI. So I wouldn't call them challenges. Like for you to create visualizations in Power BI, you will usually connect to a database, because database is where all the data is usually, and you'll have to connect to database and write queries to pull data. Sometimes you have to write complex queries to filter, your data to get the right data, and so writing queries and transforming your data is one challenge. But that's, I wouldn't call that a challenge. It's easy to learn. And once you are good with like writing SQL queries, you can start writing queries to get data from the database and then visualize that in Power BI. So that is one challenge. Other challenges, like sometimes you have to do a lot of data cleaning and data transformation before you bring that into Power BI. So those things, you can do it in Excel, or if it's a large data set, you can do it with Python and Jupyter. I hosted a session yesterday on Jupyter. So that is also a powerful tool for data cleaning, data transformation before you bring it into Power BI. The next question is, let's see. So this link I have already shared in the chat. I will again send it so that you can go through it in your free time. And one more question I saw is, for students interested in data analytics, shall we suggest this tool to get trained? Yes, very much. For example, when I was doing my master's, I got my internship because I showed this dashboard to that company that was interviewing me. They looked at this dashboard and gave me an internship. So like you can, like I have shared this database on shared this dashboard on this community for Power BI. So you can also create your own dashboards, share it in a public forum like this, and you can add this to your resume. You can add this link to your resume, and companies will look at it, and if they like it, they'll give you a job or internship or an interview, right? So Power BI and Tableau are similar tools. So whichever you like, you can start learning. So I think we are almost there.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yes.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yes.
Sir, I am taking a foundation of data science in both in CSC for Regulation 2021.
Okay.
Which one is better, Jupyter or MATLAB is better? Can you tell that?
So Jupyter is like a coding environment. So Jupyter is a must-have tool. Jupyter is very good. Matplotlib is a plotting library that you can use in Jupyter. So Matplotlib is a data science package that has several functions for data visualization. So that is mainly for a data scientist to do analysis and slides and so on. But then for presentations, for example, when you present to customers, when you present to your executives and so on, you have to have some kind of a dashboard. So that they are like different tools. Jupyter is Matplotlib is a separate tool, and Power BI is a very different type of tool for different audience. So I would say both are important.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the information.
Good evening, sir.
Sure. Yes. Good evening.
Sir, actually, I learned Jupyter as well as Tableau, Power BI.
Very nice.
The
Okay.
most of tool, there are lot of limitation. For example, if you are compare that Tableau and Power BI, the Tableau is doesn't work efficient for the data cleaning. That's why the most of preferred for that BI.
Oh, yes.
So one of the that's why. But in the Power BI tool is one of that. So we can't analyze us for large volume of data, sir. So comparing the Tableau.
Yes.
Tableau is the best for to analyzing the large volume of data. So why we are moved for the Power BI tool? If any other special beauties in that Power BI tool?
So I have used Power BI in my work with my clients, with my customers.
Okay.
So with Power BI, you can handle large volumes of data. You just have to make sure that data is stored properly. Like if you have your data should be stored in a database.
Okay.
Or if you are using an Excel workbook, right? Sometimes Excel takes a lot of time.
Yes.
because
Yes.
everything is in your computer memory, right? So you are loading a
Mm.
lot of memory on your computer.
It's take
Whereas
more
if it's
time,
in a,
sir.
yeah, whereas if you store it properly in a database and write efficient queries, Power BI
Okay.
will easily handle, large volumes of data.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
sure.
Really an interesting session, sir. I'm new to Power BI. I learned a lot today. Thank you for your sessions.
Thanks. Glad you all liked it.
Sir, I think there is no question. Tejas, Vinny?
Participants, please make sure to fill feedback form sent. And tomorrow's session is on TensorFlow by Dr. Ruzo Tamalarasan, Senior Project Lead HCL, and the timing is from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Please make sure to attend the session. I could like to conclude the session with a vote of thanks. We are delighted to have Mr. Narayanan Natarajan sir with us today and giving us this informative session. We could also want to convey our thankfulness for accepting our invitation and providing support and knowledge on Power BI. And we thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule and joining us, sir. I could also want to thank all of our participants for taking advantage of this session. Thank you all. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Tejaswini, and thank you, sir, for the opportunity
Narayan,
to
Narayan
share
sir,
my
thank you very
learnings.
much, sir, for last two session. Actually, your session was very useful and informative, and particularly today the Power BI is very useful, sir. And
Okay,
many of
sure.
the participants is new for, I think.
Okay, sure. Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity to
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
share my learnings, and I wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.